All right, we're gonna take a look at David's golf swing. David sent this a couple of days ago, and it looks like David might be in Texas or something. I don't know. It looks like a real nice golf course. I'm guessing that the hole bends around to the left this way. Looks like a right to left dog leg, judging from the cart path, and it looks like that his target is actually where his shoulders are lined up. And but I'm seeing some conflicting lines, even though this is a good athletic looking setup here. One of the first things that I'm seeing at the setup is it looks like he's reaching for the ball a little bit, and that he's actually addressing the ball slightly on the heel of the club. But if we go back and look at his, this is why I like when people send me a few seconds into their routine. David, you're very target specific with your club face, and I really like that as you're setting up right here. You're using your eyes and you're kind of setting it down, and then that club face is pointing right there. Okay, we're going to leave that line there, and then we're going to go forward a little bit more, and you're going to set your feet. You lift your club up as you set your left foot, and you can see right away that as you're setting your left foot, and you might take a couple of little adjustment steps there with your feet, but you can see right away that your feet are lined up to the right of your target. And I'm guessing that you're setting up for a draw. Looking at your swing, yeah, there goes your right foot, and sure enough, it's still on that line. And you've actually, I'm going to go back a little bit, you've set your left foot, and before you set your right foot, you're actually looking up. So one of the things I would suggest is to be really as target specific with your feet as you are with your club face. Now, again, I think you're setting up for a draw because your feet are lined up to the right, and let's get you to address right around there's when you're kind of reaching for the ball again. And we'll talk about that reaching part in a minute. Your shoulders are lined up. Oops, that's not so good. Let me do another one. Your shoulders are lined up at the tree, which is parallel left of your club face line. We know that your feet again are lined up pretty much to the right of your target. If I were to draw a little thing out there, that's where your feet are lined up. So that's not really that bad, except your hips are way open. They're actually open further than your shoulders are. Let's clean this off a little bit. So your hips are lined up there, shoulders are there, and there. It's hard on this machine. There, and there. So we've got conflicting lines here. My guess is that you're, from your setup, that you're going to spin out of the shot just a hair. But again, you are playing a draw. Let's take you a little bit more through the swing. I can't see your grip from here, but it looks like you have a fairly strong left hand and a lot of the club in your right hand as well, trying to turn it over to play that draw. So I'm going to start your backswing, and you can see the ball is a little bit on the heel of the club right there, because the first thing you do is take the club outside the line, a little bit outside the line. And again, the camera is actually behind the ball here, and not necessarily not necessarily center, but it's actually behind the ball, and we're looking at it from a sort of an odd angle. So it's not quite down the line. So we take it outside, and then you go dramatically, well, not dramatically, but you go inside, but then it loops up to the top. Now, let's go back to where the club face was pointed at the beginning, and the hips and shoulders are pointed either at that tree or left of that tree. And look where the shaft is at the top of your swing. It's over there. So it's pointing out to where your feet are pointing. Now, you also have a little bit of a flying right elbow there. And your left wrist is fairly cupped, and I'm wondering if that's from an injury. I see some black tape on your left wrist, and you might be compensating for an injury there. Um, but what this is doing is going to make you compensate. Um, let's take you through the swing a little bit more. You got your left heel is also off the ground, so you're going to have to reset that in order to plant your left side to get away from that. So that also tells me that you possibly could spin out of this shot as you're coming down. So you're coming down, great initiation. You plant that left heel and your hips come through, and you're creating some good lag there, and you're coming right through. Your head is incredibly still. I really like that position right there. Look how still your head is. That's terrific right there. But look at that. Sure enough, you're forced to kind of decelerate and feed the ball out there with your arms because of your setup. Because you had those conflicting lines, bam, 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 at your setup, you need to compensate for that by, let's take you through again. So you can see that loop there coming up, almost a Jim Furyk-like loop. And then a cupped left wrist, you can see it very clearly there. Straight up. Actually straight up, there you go. And then you plant that left heel, slide a little bit to your left with your hips, and then that forces you to feed the ball out and spin your hips left, which makes you come across it right there. And you can tell by the way that you sort of spin with your ankle pointing to the right, your hips facing left of the target, and you have a very upright finish, which is good, but you've spun out of it just a little bit. Now the way to fix that would be to make sure that your lines of your feet, your knees, your hips, your feet, your knees, your hips, and your shoulders, and your club face are all in one line at address. That way you're not compensating anywhere through your swing, and you will be able to create a greater club head speed. Now, I have a feeling you're a very accomplished golfer. You can probably make the ball go right to left or left to right at will, and you're probably pretty consistent. But what I'm guessing that what you might be looking for is distance, and this will help with that, because when all your lines that you're setting up with are in unison with each other, you're able to generate more club head speed because you're creating more efficient positions throughout the swing. Does that make sense? All in all, a good golf swing, and you can see that you had to compensate by the way that you finished there with the club head. Let's take you through it, take you back to the beginning, and play it in slow-mo, and you can kind of see some things that we've been talking about here. I'm just going to put it on slow-mo and take you through the swing. Set the club face down your target line. I really like that. And then you look up as you set your right foot. I would keep my head down there, and then look up as you're setting your club face again, and then look up there to make sure you're right. All in all, pretty darn solid, but you are sacrificing some club head speed by sort of having to feed it out there because you're spinning your hips out, because your hips are lined up slightly left of your target, and way left of where your feet are lined up. Let's look at one more thing. I would suggest getting your hands a little bit lower, a little bit closer to your hips at address, almost straight down. I'm going to pause it as soon as you get to your address. I'm going to pause it right here. And I would say that the hands are a little bit out in front of your eyes right now, and it would be great to see them directly below your eyes. I would study a couple different golf swings on the LPGA Tour because their technique is so pure. I would look at Lorena Ochoa, the former #1, because she comes across the line at the top just like you do, and study what she does to create her power, study her positions. And I would also study Yani Tseng, the world #1 right now, because her hands are very low. Her arms are straight below her chin at address, and she's the longest hitter on tour, and she is really small, a really small person. There's some much bigger girls in much better shape than she is, and she hits the ball a long ways. Part of that has to do with her grip. This line right here. She looks at, she's looking to be at about 145 degrees, that angle there, and where you are is about I'm guessing 160. Let me fix that a little bit. It's not quite that shallow, but 158, 160. So the optimum tour player angle there would be about 144, as you've seen on the Golf Channel commercial. I'm sure you watch the Golf Channel because I feel like you're a really a fairly accomplished golfer. Otherwise, you wouldn't have sent me your swing in the first place. Anyways, I hope this helps, and please tell your friends. Check it out at nathanprevostgolf.com. You can send as many swings as you like, and as fast as I can, I will analyze them and get them back out to you, and I hope that this helps. Let's look at it one last time from the beginning. Nice and slow. All right, enjoy. Tell all your friends. Thanks, David. Bye.